the inconsistency has been tough for me. I've been able to have consistent career of solid finishes and good points finishes, and this year it's been tough.
The break for me, at least, was kind of about unplugging a little bit. And, we went down to the Bahamas for a week, almost week and a half, and just kind of hung out.
It's not like something like, oh my goodness, we got a soft tire now. Well, we've had soft tires before. They know how they're going to react. They know what the pluses and minuses are going to be.
You never know when you're just going to have an off weekend.
I've kind of gotten the ability to have the platform that I want, and it is my platform, and I can speak to whatever I feel like talking about.
We were in the mix, and it makes it a lot more fun when you're in the mix than you are just struggling and trying to figure out what direction to go.
Yeah, it's tough, and sorry for being bouncy the roads here.
It's like if you have, the all-you-can-eat buffet every single day of the week, people are going to get tired of it, right? So if it's a special thing, I think people get more excited for it.
Hi, Bo! Raise your hand up so she can see it. There you go.
Truthfully, even as a company, I think it was, very head-scratching why at the beginning all four of us just went instantly straight to the back. We just really struggled.
Welcome on to the Backstretch. I am News 5's Heather Williams. And man, does it feel like it's been a long time since we have chatted. Very unusual 2-week break for NASCAR, break for the Summer Olympics. And thank goodness the Olympics has, track and field and swimming and bicycle racing, along with the local short track to kind of fill that racing fix, because it really feels like it's been a long time since we've hit the track. Coming up on the Backstretch, we're actually going to talk a lot about this break. I have the two guests this week, which is fantastic, Dillon and Todd Gilliland. They're both going to talk about this break. Is it good, for a guy like Todd, who is running really well before the break? Maybe not so great a time for a 2-week break, but for a team like Dillon's, who has just been really a mess all summer long, might be a good time to regroup and to improve and because they know they're a better team than what they're doing right now. So put all the heads together, work on some things, really come back with kind of a fresh new perspective. So that's going to be a topic that we'll talk with both of them, as well as with Chris. We'll also talk to Chris about the news that came out over the break with Corey LaJoie. What is his future now that he has parted ways for next season with Spire Motorsports? And then, of course, Richmond. That's our first race back. And there's a little extra twist turned into Richmond, which is these option tires. A limited amount of time, drivers going to have a chance or an option to run certain tires. So what does that mean for the drivers, and how will they attack those options, especially at a place like Richmond? So let's get going. First of all, Todd, thanks for joining me. I'm curious, because I get asked this a lot, and obviously I'm no driver, so I don't know the answer. How did you enjoy your break? What did you do? What was kind of the goal of the drivers here on this two-week break?
Yeah, I think the break for me, at least, was kind of about unplugging a little bit, and we went down to the Bahamas for a week, almost week and a half, and just kind of hung out, sat around, sat by the pool, the beach, everything, and just kind of hung out. Right, that's our schedule is long, and that's what makes us, I feel like, have a really good schedule, right? We get to see so many people, so many places. But yeah, we definitely had to take advantage of this. We never have, 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer. So it's definitely fun to hang out a little bit.
So I'm curious, because this is kind of the part of the question I get asked a lot. Do you like this break? I mean, it's so unusual from what you normally do. Are you afraid it might break up mojo? Like, what's your feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really nice, for sure. Just getting away a little bit. Like I said, I think it's really nice for everybody in the industry. But on the flip side of it, we definitely missed being at the track. And I would say the first week and a half, like I said, was super nice, and it was really nice to get away a little bit. But then definitely started missing seeing everybody at the shop, and we get in such a routine that you definitely do kind of miss it, right? It's tough while you're doing it, but then you do miss it right away. So I'm definitely very thankful to be back racing and be back at the shop, seeing everyone on my team, and it seems like everyone's had a nice break, and everyone's definitely really excited to get back to the track. So that's a really good thing. I think as a whole sport, that's definitely a really nice mindset.
So your team, I think, has surprised a lot of people in the performance. Maybe not in the finishes, because I know you like you guys feel like you've run better than you finished. But I've told a lot of people you guys are like my pick to sneak up there and steal one. Do you feel like you're close to? I mean, you're inching close on being able to do it on points, but I feel like you're running well enough that you could be the one that surprises a lot of people and steals one of those playoff spots.
Yeah, I think we really do think that. That's the that's the fun part, right? We've been just inching up on it. And like you said too, I don't think really a lot of people I think we're kind of starting to get a little bit, more of the respect, not really respect, but just like, the thought that people when they say it's up there, it's really not a huge fluke, right? So that's been really nice. We've been running well recently and just bringing a lot of speed. From there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? Speed is a very big part of the equation, but there's still so many other things that have to go right to win a race. So, yeah, to me, we're definitely getting close enough to be able to do that. Richmond, I think, would be a great place. Michigan, Daytona, I definitely think we could go out and surprise and win that one. So, yeah, the playoffs are coming up quick, but at the same time, our speed has just been taking, more and more steady gains, and that's what you need in the sport for sure. So I think it's definitely all good news for our side of it.
How excited? I know you guys are concentrating on this year and have a good chance to make the playoffs, but how much do you feel excitement coming forward? Because I feel like this year, when you talk about silly season and moving forward, Pro and Spire have made kind of the two biggest splashes as far as hires and expansion, and guys bringing on Noah next year and all that kind of stuff. So, how do you feel that like excitement that the rest of the garage sees for your organization?
Yeah, it's definitely really nice. I think from that side of it, I think it really is kind of respect. I think that's the perfect way of saying what we're gaining in the garage just overall. So I would say 5, 10 years back, right? If you're trying to hire someone at front row, maybe you would get a little bit overlooked, right? Where now I really feel like this is a place where, people come in and make a huge difference. I think just because we don't, necessarily have, I mean, we have so many good people, but it's not, maybe as much depth as, some of the biggest teams. But for us, it's about everybody's pulling their own weight and making such a big difference when they're here. So that's the really cool part to me. Definitely running better has been really fun. The expansion is definitely super exciting. But on the flip side of it too, right? We have to stay focused on getting the right people in the right places to make it successful, because just bringing another car to the racetrack, it can help or hurt you. And I think the way we're trying to obviously go about it and hire the right people, I think it'll be a really big help to our whole race team. So yeah, it's super fun. It's exciting times. It's nerve-wracking, like I said. Just there's a lot to be done. But I'm really happy that we're kind of getting ahead of the curve, right? We've last year I think was the earliest they've ever signed drivers up. This year we got it done even earlier. Obviously with the expansion and everything else, there's still a lot of work to do, but I really feel like every single area of this race team is moving in the right direction. So that's super, super exciting to me.
Your team's co-owner Bob Jenkins is from the Bristol area, which is where I am, and I know that a lot of people, including him, consider Bristol his home track. I know we're still a while away from there, but I don't know if I'll get a chance to talk to you before then. How special would it be to have a big run here at Bristol?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, our team owner has a suite up there in the stands, and it was always bringing a lot of guys, a lot of friends and families to the racetrack. So that's always a super fun one to race at. Just obviously Bristol is really cool on its own too. So I still think there's a little bit of unknown going back to Bristol with the difference in tires we had last race there versus what we've had probably the last 5 to 10 years before that. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of race we get. But it's definitely an important one. They're all important, but like you said, when there's that home track feeling, we would certainly like to put a good run on the board for our team owner and like you said, his whole family really. So it should be pretty fun.
All right, final question. This week, Richmond, what's the team got to do to get you guys out front?
Yeah, it takes everything, man. Like we were talking about earlier, you have to have a fast car. You have to have a good mindset as far as taking care of the tires. A lot of times at Richmond, you can get to racing other people, and before you know it, you're sliding around, and you're the one getting passed by 4 or 5 guys pretty quickly. So yeah, it's about having a fast car, having a car that takes care of the tires, driver that's doing the same, good restarts, good pit stops. Especially with the new tire options we have this year, we have to be on top of it and being on the right tires at the right time. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I definitely think that our guys are up for the battle for sure.
Little lie, because I do want to follow up on the tire option. Do you guys have a plan on how you're going to handle that, or is it you just going to kind of figure it after practice?
Yeah, that's our main goal, is just figure it out after practice, just kind of see how much they fall off. I definitely don't think we'll see like we did at North Wilkesboro, where guys were able to keep running them and just run them pretty much the whole kind of second half of that race, just because different surface. Richmond's really hard on the tires that we have that are kind of the harder of the two options. So we'll see. I think that's the main thing. There's so many unknowns. We have no data to go off of, so everyone will be learning super fast, and I think that practice is just really important.
First of all, Austin, thanks for joining us. How did you enjoy your kind of summer vacation, 2-week break from NASCAR?
Man, I really enjoyed it. I stayed home actually the first week and ended up going to my hunting land with my son for a couple days. Came back and then went to the beach in Wrightsville and had a blast. Just a couple days there and just rest and relax and enjoy my house for a couple days instead of being gone on the weekends. It was nice.
There's kind of two ways that people can look at the break. You can look at it as kind of breaking up the season or a fresh start. I'm guessing the way the first part of the season went for you guys, that this is a nice fresh start for you guys. Clear your heads, come back, kind of, new thoughts, ideas, and kind of ready to roll at the track.
Yeah, I think it's just a restart because we've got 14 races left, probably somewhere around there. And we got to establish ourselves in a better points position. We've been mired in the back all year, and it's just kind of been one of those things where you never can get ahead. So hopefully, Richmond's been a really good track for us. This weekend, we started off strong and kind of let that momentum roll.
I know that, all teams go through this in some for shape or fashion, but to kind of go through it all at once, you guys, the A team, just, not getting the finishes, but knowing both of you guys have had runs that have been good, like had times have run really well. Does that make it more frustrating when it kind of just rains on you all at once?
Yeah, just the inconsistency has been tough for me. I've been able to have consistent career of solid finishes and good points finishes, and this year it's been tough because you get one race where you're like, okay, that was good, we can build off of that, and the next race you go have a DNF and it just kills you. And I think the two of us have the most DNFs this year, and I think we're 1 and 2 on that. So we've been wrecked a lot and gotten in a lot of wrecks and just unfortunate circumstances. So hopefully we can turn that around the second half.
You mentioned Richmond's a good track for you. What's kind of the key to being good at Richmond?
I think the biggest thing is, a little bit of patience with the tires, obviously, and just being consistent. You're going to have to go to work for every lap of that event to take care of your tires. And now they've thrown in new sets of tires. So you got reds and yellows and different hardness of the tire. So, yeah, the compound's different, and we'll be learning throughout practice to try and make sure we can keep our car pretty solid for the race.
So it was going to be my next question, was about the different tires. Can you simulate that, or is that something you're really going to have to sort out in practice?
Well, we try and simulate it. We worked on it yesterday in our sim sessions, but it's very tough to kind of recreate that until you get to the track. You really don't know. I mean, the engineers that Chevrolet has are really good, and I think they'll do as good as we can with the information that we have. And then now it's our job to get there and try and make quick adjustments during our practice time.
The final push towards the playoffs, there's some really good tracks for you. I mean, even though you hadn't had a good season, you mentioned Richmond, but also Daytona and some other things. You see several chances for you guys to jump up there and steal a spot in the playoffs?
I definitely feel like, with this race car, you have opportunities to win each and every weekend. And Daytona and Michigan, both good tracks for us. Richmond, So we'll attack all of those tracks and see what we can come up with and be aggressive with our strategy and try and put ourselves in a place where we could win and get into the playoffs.
So for my final thought this week, let's talk about NASCAR silly season. The picture is starting to fill in a little bit more, but what's really interesting about this silly season, more so than probably normal, it feels like there are not enough seats for the guys that need or want or deserve seats next season. Even though teams are adding charters and adding drivers, the sport is really young right now. And so in the past, Dale Jr. retires, you bring in William Byron or Alex Bowman, or I guess it was Bowman. Jimmy Johnson retires, you bring in William Byron. And as the natural kind of progression, Kevin Harvick retires, you bring in Josh Berry. But now we're at a garage full of guys where there's 2 guys over the age of 40. And not a lot of guys are thinking about close to contemplating retirement. So performance becomes even more important, and even lower level team seats become more and more competitive, which is sad because I think you're going to see a lot of drivers that absolutely deserve rides next year without a place to go. You look at what happened this week with Corey LaJoie, or the last couple of weeks with Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie is a Cup Series driver. Is he a Hendrick Motorsports driver? Maybe not. But does he deserve a seat somewhere in the Cup Series? Yeah, he absolutely does. You know who else does? Cole Custer. You know who else does? Riley Herbst. You look at Justin Allgaier. You look at all these guys in the Xfinity Series that seem blocked indefinitely. Now, many of those names that I just named off are going to have Cup Series rides. In fact, Cole already does have one for the upcoming season, but it's really unfortunate. It's a good problem for the sport to have because there is an immense amount of talent, but it's not a good thing for the drivers because you also look at the guy like Ryan Preece, who's probably not going to be in the Cup Series next year. And it's unfortunate. There are a lot of drivers that deserve rides and aren't going to have them. And, that's kind of the tough side of this sport. But as you watch silly season kind of progress along, it's going to be really fascinating to see what some of these teams do. Some of these maybe even lower performing teams, because they're going to have decisions to make. There are young guys waiting for their chance. So do they stick with the guy that they've had, or do they make a decision and move on? That'll do it for the backstretch. We'll see you next week.